Welcome back to the story of the West region of Comhaltas in North America. We started with the story of the Cooley-Keegan branch founded in 1984 and still the largest branch in the region. When Jim Belcher, the former chair of the San Francisco branch, relocated to Seattle, he met a small group of Washingtonians interested in Irish set dancing. He knew that a Comhaltas branch would be a welcome addition to the Seattle Irish scene, so he organized the Puget Sound branch, which now serves the greater Washington area. And with Jim's efforts, the set dance scene in Seattle is thriving. Here's the story of the Puget Sound branch of Comhaltas.
Welcome to the Puget Sound branch of Comhaltas Culteri Erin, located here in Seattle, Washington. Seattle by day, or Seattle by night, is the beautiful Emerald City of the Great Northwest. Prior to the mid-1890s, Seattle was a small port community. The Irish diaspora who trekked out west often ended up logging in the rich forested hills for lumber to build houses in the growing San Francisco area. But with the booming Klondike gold rush in the Yukon Territory in the mid-1890s, the population of Seattle increased by the thousands. The Irish were a large part of this growth, and while very few hit the mother lode in Skagway and beyond, they stayed, and Seattle became their eventual home. And here they contributed and prospered. And now, 130 years later, Seattle is best known for its airplanes, computers, and technology. Companies like Boeing, Microsoft, Starbucks, and Amazon, and other well-known companies make Seattle an appealing and popular place to settle. In many ways, Seattle resembles Ireland. In addition to the weather, which is similar to the west of Ireland, the city is nearly the same latitude as Cork City. But it is the music and dancing we enjoy the most from Ireland. From the 1970s on, Seattleites have enjoyed the whole gamut of Irish culture, from Gaelic sports to live Celtic music in the pubs to Irish shops and restaurants. The Irish Heritage Club, led by longtime Seattleite John Keane, was, and still is, a lead organization for all things Irish in Seattle. However, set dancing also had a presence then, but there was not an official Comhaltas branch to support it. So in early 2004, a group of like-minded dancers and supporters of the Irish music and tradition came together to form the Puget Sound branch of Comhaltas Culteri Erin of the greater Seattle area. To grow, we needed to promote not only our own branch, but also the support for traditional Irish music and dancing. Teaching set dancing at various locations was a start. Branch-sponsored ceilidhs with enthusiastic dancers and lively music was just the beginning. Demonstration sets and performances at various festivals and Irish events soon followed. The goal was to share this enjoyable form of dancing and music. One of the earliest and most popular teaching and dancing venues was the Irish Emigrant, a pub near the University of Washington. Dancers enjoyed many a summer evening, dancing on the open rooftop deck to great music. Another very popular venue was Mick Kelly's Pub in Burien, a suburb of South Seattle. Dancers joined in on Sunday nights, often with live music accompanying the sets. Seattle and the surrounding area pubs have generously offered space and support for practice sessions and ceilidhs. Prior to the pandemic, Sean O'Donnell's Pub in Fremont, a district in Seattle, was a welcoming venue for branch-hosted ceilidhs. Another great pub is the Wild Rover in Kirkland, a community across Lake Washington from Seattle. They too have opened their space for dancers and musicians with monthly ceilidhs on a Sunday afternoon. Dancers have also trekked over to West Seattle to enjoy dancing at the Grange Hall, another favorite venue. While much of the dancing has happened in pubs around the region, there is nothing more enjoyable than a deck party, hosted at homes of the branch members. Great music, Seattle sunshine, camaraderie, all the ingredients that lead to fantastic set dancing. But whether it's dancing on a deck or in Frank and Marilyn's living room, our intrepid dancers are willing to go far and wide for the pleasure in the music and dancing. On nicer days, perhaps, a ferry ride over to Vashon Island to dance under John's gazebo. Or we might travel a bit further to dance with the Arizonians. The Phoenix branch hosted the Seattle dancers, first for meetings, then for some great music and dancing. Demonstration sets and performances have always been a popular method to express the enjoyment of Irish music and set dancing. They also help to foster interest and to gain new members. In the spring, Comhaltas members support the Irish Heritage Club's St. Patrick's Day festivities by performing on the stage at the Seattle Center. In late spring, Seattle Folklife hosts one of the most popular folk festivals in the United States, and the biggest in the Great Northwest. Thousands attend over the Memorial Day weekend. For over 10 years, the branch has hosted a set dance workshop and mini ceilidh, which consistently draws a large gathering. Yes, we are a set dancing branch, but we really like our musicians. For after all, it's all about the music. We welcome visitors and friends to our great city and countryside. When you're in town, give us a call. And here's our branch Facebook page providing information on our music and dancing events.
It should be noted that Seattle has recently become the home to another longtime Comhaltas supporter, John Whalen, who moved to Seattle in 2016. John has brought his phenomenal accordion playing to Seattle set dances and has been a leader in organizing virtual events during the pandemic. We know that John will be making his mark on the Seattle Irish music scene for years to come. Down the coast a few hours' drive, a relatively short distance in the American West, is the state of Oregon. At the intersection of the Willamette River and the mighty Columbia River is Portland, Oregon, location of the Micheal O'Donnell branch of Comhaltas. The branch began in 2017, but the history of Irish music in Oregon goes back much further, with some names you will know very well.
The first Irish in Oregon made the hard journey overland on the Oregon Trail. Many followed to work on the railroads, in the booming lumber industry, or to be herdsmen in large sheep ranching operations in eastern Oregon. Plush, Oregon, in Lake County, was called Little Ireland because of the large number of Irish shepherds living there. Many of those were from Cork. Between the 1870s and the 1920s, Portland had a thriving Irish community. By the 1930s, Portland's Irish community was well integrated into Portland society. The Hibernians had sold their building and disbanded. Nearly 12% of Oregon's population claimed Irish ancestry, but there were no longer weekly Irish dances or benevolent societies. With the folk music revival in the 1970s, musicians in the Portland area once again began playing Irish jigs and reels. Jan DeWeese grew up in Montana, where he learned the music from his Irish neighbors. Porter Dodge was an American-style fiddler, heard recordings of Fairport Convention, and became interested in Irish music. Sylvia Hagethorne was inspired to learn the tin whistle by a recording of Boys of the Loch, and she traveled all the way to Doolin to learn from Mike O'Russell. These and other musical friends, many with connections to Reed College, met at the East Avenue Tavern for a weekly Irish session. One of the friends was Bill Bulick, the owner of Portland's Artichoke Music, the beloved music store, music school, and performance venue still thriving today in Portland. Bill and his partner Carol McIntosh had lived in Ireland, studied Irish music, and met the O'Donnell family. Bill invited former Bothy Band members Micheál O'Donnell and Kevin Burke to Portland for a West Coast concert tour. When the gas crisis of 1979 caused Micheál and Kevin to make an extended stay in Portland, they liked it so much they ended up making their homes here and continued touring from their new home base in Portland, Oregon. The enthusiasm for Irish music and ceilidh dancing was so strong in Portland that the Portland Ceilidh Society was founded and began holding monthly ceilidhs. These ceilidhs attracted 100 or more dancers each month and featured many of Portland's best musicians, including Randall Bays, Seamus Egan, Dale Russ, Mikey Beglin, Teresa Baker, Geraldine Murray, and many others, often accompanied by Micheál O'Donnell.
Well, I started coming to the ceilidhs because my dad was dragging me to dance classes and the ceilidh, and so I was about 15 when I first started coming to the dances. And as soon as I came, I loved it. My very first ceilidh that I ever went to had just an amazing music. Micheál O'Donnell, Trina O'Donnell, Johnny Cunningham, and Mikey Beglin were all playing, and so I was kind of hooked once I heard the music. And then I've been coming ever since for almost over 20 years now.
Many local bands were formed, including Wild Geese, featuring Randall Bays, Kate Power, Bill Bulick, Jim Chapman, and Barry Cranell. Their 1983 album was produced by friend and mentor Micheál O'Donnell. Portland became a regional mecca for Irish music and dance, and the Portland Ceilidh Society hosted monthly ceilidhs for over 30 years. After learning the North Kerry set at the ceilidh, many of the dancers from the Ceilidh Society wanted to learn more about set dancing. Learning from Pat Murphy's book, Toss the Feathers, and Matt Cunningham's CDs only whetted their appetite. So in 1995, they organized a group trip to Willie Clancy Week to learn more, and the long Portland set dancing tradition was born. Malden Meehan's path to sean-nós dancing began when she was learning battering steps for set dancing. She had always admired percussive dance styles from Cape Breton and Appalachian clogging and was thrilled to learn about Connemara-style sean-nós dancing. Since then, she has gone on to earn an MA in ethno-choreology from the University of Limerick and has learned from dancers all over Ireland. She has been performing and teaching at classes, workshops, and festivals. She's loved by her students for her mastery of the dance, her creative choreography, and her patient and kind teaching style. In 2017, a branch of Comhaltas Kiltory Éireann was organized to support traditional Irish music, set dancing, sean-nós singing and dancing, and Irish language. The branch was named for Micheál O'Donnell, who contributed so much to the preservation and growth of Irish music and culture in the 16 years he spent in Portland. The Micheál O'Donnell branch of Oregon has hosted concerts, workshops, monthly ceilidhs, pop-up Gael talks, summer campouts, and more. Oregon was one of the first branches to host a virtual concert held in April of 2020, shortly after the coronavirus pandemic began. Oregon has many young musicians who look forward to meeting up with other young musicians at the next Midwest Fleadh. Portland, Oregon is currently the home of Brian O'Hart, the well-known and highly respected Sean-Nós singer, dancer, musician, and Irish speaker and teacher. He has won several top prizes at the Fleadh Cheoil and was the All-Ireland singing winner in 2002. Brian has an MA in music performance from the University of Limerick and is currently the chair of the Oregon branch of Comhaltas. Brian teaches and performs at concerts and festivals as a solo with his Chicago-based band Bua, and is a frequent collaborator with singer Len Graham.
Lady, would you rise up now and let your eyebrows not be frowning? Come fill to us a flowing glass, and you'll get paid when it is morning. Kneel the la, nan the la, kneel the la, nan the watching. Kneel the la, nan the la, banalago si marwago.
No discussion about Irish music in Oregon would be complete without mentioning our shining star, the world-famous Kevin Burke. He's a true gentleman and not only a world-class fiddler, he's also Portland's favorite storyteller, teacher, mentor, and historian. Although he's often away on tour, when Kevin Burke does a local concert like his An Irishman's Journey St. Patrick's Day concert, it's very special and an experience not to be missed. We are all very happy that Kevin has made Portland his home. A new generation of musicians is now playing at Portland pubs and ceilidhs. Rosie is one of Portland's best. The members of the band are all young West Coast natives who were inspired to play Irish music from hearing concerts and recordings. Fiddler Eric Killips started as a Suzuki violin student, then studied with Dan Compton, one of Portland's most respected folk music performers and teachers. Eric eventually moved to Limerick, where he earned his BA and studied with top fiddlers Siobhan Peoples and Frankie Gavin.
The Los Angeles branch of Comhaltas is called Kilnanangle for the City of Angels. With a population of almost 19 million in the greater Los Angeles metropolitan area, you know there will be at least a few Irish people among them, as well as people playing traditional Irish music, dancing, singing Irish songs, and speaking the Irish language. South of Los Angeles is the city of San Diego and home of the Creve Barry Kogan branch of Comhaltas. San Diego is the home of the first California mission, founded by the Franciscan father Junipero Serra in 1769. San Diego also has a cottage in Balboa Park called the House of Ireland, which was built in 1935 for the California Pacific International Exposition. The House of Ireland hosts many organizations, including our Comhaltas branch, its music classes and events.
Hello and welcome to San Diego, California, USA. A sunny city on the coast of Southern California with a thriving Irish community and a Comhaltas branch we'd love to tell you more about. But first, a bit about that Irish culture. The San Diego St. Patrick's Day Parade, hosted by the Irish Congress of Southern California, is the largest parade west of the Mississippi River and has been held since 1981. The House of Ireland was founded in 1935. It is a cottage whose purpose is to bring people together in friendship and to disseminate Irish and Irish American history and culture. Its yearly lawn program is one of many events with connections to Irish music, dance, and broader history. Next are the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick, an Irish fraternal organization with nearly 50 years of Irish cultural and philanthropic events. And while there's so much more than we can cover in this video, we would like to highlight the Irish Outreach Center, which exists to support Irish immigrants and to be the heart of the Irish community in San Diego, and a number of organizations behind the I Wish You a Merry Christmas fundraiser, which supports a number of youth organizations in the city. The story of Comhaltas in San Diego starts with Martin de Kogan, a musician, dancer, storyteller, teacher, just an all-around artist who travels across the globe to perform and calls San Diego home. Martin started the Comhaltas branch in San Diego in 2017 and did so with his father, Barry, who also has a long and storied history with Comhaltas. In reflecting on their time together in Comhaltas, Martin and his father sat down for a chat, which we'll share with you now, which covers their background, some of their best memories, Comhaltas' values, what they find most rewarding, and the state of the Irish music in America today.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
I was a public representative for 30 years, but I'm still involved. I'm not retired. I'm a full-time voluntary community activist.
How long have you been part of Comhaltas?
I never wrote it down, but I'd say it would be over 40 years.
And who introduced you to the idea of Comhaltas?
Well, I was a member of the Carrigaline Pipe Band for a short while, and I always had a great love of Irish music and singing and dancing, and we said we should try and foster it here in Carrigaline, and we started a branch of Comhaltas.
And did you ever take part in any of the competitions yourself?
Oh, I did. I took part in dancing, and I was the drummer in the senior Cayley band, and I was involved in both figure dancing and set dancing, and also in storytelling. I won a good few titles.
Was there always music in your house when you were young?
My uncle James was a piper. My first cousin formed the Carrigaline Pipe Band, and my uncles on my mother's side were bagpipers as well.
But would there have been much traditional music or traditional dancing or set dancing?
No set dancing when I was growing up. I was 30 years of age when I learned my first set dance.
So when did set dancing become part of Carrigaline and part of Comhaltas?
I think set dancing took off very much when it became a part of the score competitions.
I remember some great Christmas Kellys where the whole ceiling would be full of tinsel and golden balls circling around in the glow of the night, and about 400 people dancing in unison on the floor. It was absolutely magic.
You know, it was the mecca of Irish dancing in Ireland. It was renowned. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And to get people together and enjoy Cayley, the sing song. You must have people. You have to have people to make it happen.
And so you set up Carrigaline and then Comhaltas na Douglasha. And what made you then develop more branches?
Well, I suppose people got to hear of what we were doing, or, I met people in different locations, and they said, would you ever come out and talk to us about Comhaltas? These were parishes, within the county.
Over the past 40 years in the setting up of the Comhaltas branches, I know you've set up over a dozen in your time, or been involved in the setting up of a dozen or more. What's been the most rewarding thing looking back?
It's a labour of love, is what I love doing. Well, I suppose the success of the branches has been the most rewarding, and I rather be. I love encouraging youngsters to take up it.
And is there anything else you'd like the people to know?
A lot of the music went over when the Irish immigrated 100 years or maybe 100 more or 150 years ago and came back then again, you know. So, like, there's a huge wealth of Irish traditional music in America.
And now, as we take in sights from the San Diego Cultus branch named in Barry's honor, 2 first-hand accounts on what kind of impact the branch has had.
My name is Mary Harris, and I am the co-chair and treasurer of the Barry Kogan branch of Cultus in San Diego. I have loved traditional Irish music for many years. A few years ago, I noticed that lessons were being offered for the Baran through this organization called Cultus, so I thought I'd check it out. This was after I had picked up the piano again after a very long break, so I was getting back into playing music. I wanted to play an instrument that I could maybe in a few years eventually play in a session, but not a fiddle or banjo or something like that, so it was the Baran. I practiced a lot, and to my complete surprise, I quickly became part of the session community here in San Diego. Since then, I have given both the mandolin and guitar a try and have settled on the guitar in dadgad tuning. I play the guitar in our new Cultus beginner session led by our own Judy Karlstrom, which is currently online due to COVID. Thanks to Cultus, I have again found joy in playing music that I love and have discovered a wonderful community of new friends that support Irish traditions.
Since childhood, I've been drawn to Ireland's songs, music, dance, and folklore. But it was Ireland's tradition of playing music together from memory in an informal setting that attracted me the most. When I was asked to help establish a Cultus branch here in San Diego, I knew that I wanted to be part of encouraging the music in all of its forms. Our focus became instruction, and we assembled a group of talented teachers in fiddle, banjo, mandolin, whistle, concertina, bodhrán, storytelling, song, and sean-nós dancing. In our second year, I began a Tintan Cheoil, roughly translated as music on the hearth, like I had experienced in Kogan on the Dingle Peninsula. Once a week, we gathered by a fire at the House of Ireland in Balboa Park, played, sang, and told stories. During our pandemic year, I hosted a beginner's tune learning session on Zoom for our members, adding 2 new tunes each week. It is my hope that from these modest beginnings, we will continue to grow into a thriving community of those who appreciate all facets of Irish traditional culture.
And before we close, one final thought from Barry.
Traditional Irish music is very much alive in America.
And certainly in San Diego. Thank you for your time in learning about our branch. And please reach out for more information or to get involved.